offensive tackle conversation. Unfortunately, Joe Alt was going to lose this or leave this program at some point, and we're going to have to move on at the tackle spots. Blake Fisher as well. So we got to keep the offensive tackles coming. And let's talk about a couple of hopeful offensive tackles for the Fighting Irish. We'll begin with Anthony Knapp, who's going to be making his college choice very, very soon. Who is he?
Yeah, you mentioned offensive tackle. This one's interesting, Darren, because he's listed at 6'4", 265, which is not ideal tackle size. I mean, and I talked to Knapp recently. He's like, I know that, but the thing is, the way he plays is, it's like his athleticism, his aggressiveness, like translates to tackle. So I think it's kind of a get here and see. I would probably put it like 75, 80% chance he's going to be an interior guy at the next level. But there's plenty of history of 6'4" offensive tackles. So, if you can move and, you can pass block, you can play tackle. But I do probably think he projects more on the inside at the next level. He's announcing his commitment on Wednesday. This one has come together really quickly, and it does look pretty good here for Notre Dame. He visited campus, was it Friday? And then I think he hung out a couple of days in Chicago. Great place to hang out. Hope he got some pizza. Darren, I need to get to Chicago and get some pizza. I am really craving some Chicago deep dish. But that's a different discussion for a different day, as I'm now getting very hungry and craving pizza. But Darren, he got an offer while on campus, and for him to announce a commitment date of this Wednesday, that soon after the visit, when you follow recruiting long enough, that typically looks pretty good. Interesting note, his first Power 5 offer was from Virginia Tech. Who was Virginia Tech's offensive line coach at that time? Joe Rudolph. Knapp visited Virginia Tech in January. Rudolph was the offensive line coach at that point. So he's visited with Joe Rudolph twice this calendar year, once at Virginia Tech, and then on Friday with Notre Dame. It looks pretty good that Knapp will be Notre Dame's second offensive line commit in the class, joining Peter Jones from Malvern, Pennsylvania. And then from that point, Darren, Notre Dame is probably going to go with your true offensive tackle, and there is a big one coming to campus soon.
And before we get to that, breaking news, I understand Deep Dish Pizza from Chicago is a 1-star prospect. 1 star. 1 star. Now, that's one thing we totally disagree on.
Oh, right. Well, Darren,
you can't put ketchup and mustard on it. Come on, that's ridiculous.
I have really enjoyed working with you on these shows, Darren. For me, Detroit deep dish is number 1. Oh, okay. That's tight. Because Jets Pizza, I grew up eating that. I just haven't had as much exposure to Chicago, deep dish pizza, but every time I've had it, it's amazing. So, Darren, it's been good doing these shows with you. This is our last one.
Well, maybe you and Justin Scott can go have a deep dish, sometime in Chicago.
Sounds
Who knows?
Fantastic.
That would be great. But now let's go to the more important subject. Guerby Lambert. I love the name. Guerby.
Yeah.
He's an offensive tackle who visited in April. And when I was looking him up today, I noticed he is one of the premier offensive tackles in this class.
Yeah. He's never been to Notre Dame. To my knowledge, it's not April yet, Darren. Believe it or not. We're getting there. To my knowledge, he's taken 2 trips to Boston College, the school down the road. I don't think he's been to any other visits outside his home state. So, this is a big story. We posted this news Monday night. Heard from multiple sources that Lambert is visiting Notre Dame for that blue gold game. His teammate at the high school level, Boubacar Traore, signed with Notre Dame in the 2023 class. Honestly, Darren, a bit of a blessing that Traore did not enroll early. One, I think he's still recovering from an injury, so he wouldn't, be able to do spring ball anyways. But he's coming into Notre Dame for the spring game, so I think Lambert's, carpooling there. So huge for Notre Dame to get Guerby Lambert on campus. He really is as good as they come. Listed at 6'7", 285 pounds. Are you kidding? What is he being fed? He's a junior in high school. All the heavy hitters are after him. I personally think, Darren, it's Notre Dame versus Boston College. That's not often for, the number 2 tackle in the country, number 46 overall player per the industry ranking at On3. But yeah, I think he stays local at Boston College, or I think he goes to Notre Dame. The academic component, Trey Orey's one of his best buddies. That's a really important connection. I like Notre Dame here. It's still a tough recruitment because it's like he really hasn't been anywhere. He hasn't been to Notre Dame. Does he click with Notre Dame? Does he not? Does he, take all 5 official visits before deciding? There's a lot that's kind of unknown with this recruitment, but blue gold game. He's expected to get to Notre Dame. Absolutely huge visit, Darren.
Well, unless he wants to play close to home, which I respect that.
Yeah.
Having the opportunity to play offensive line at Notre Dame, Rudolph, the new offensive line coach, the history. I saw a stat the other day how many hundreds of millions of dollars the offensive line at Notre Dame is now worth in the National Football League. It's pretty remarkable. But, hey, if he wants to go to BC, I get it. But, wow, what an amazing opportunity he could have here.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Notre Dame offensive line room, and I think it's not a hard sell for Notre Dame to say, hey, here's all the, the digits, of dollars that our players have made, in the offensive line in the NFL. And then Blake Fisher and Joe Alt are not going to be here much longer. And I mean, there's not behind that. It's like, there's no like shoe-in tackles. I mean, if you're Notre Dame, you can say, hey, Joe Alt and Blake Fisher started as freshmen. Now, if Fisher was the day 1 starter as a true freshman, a left tackle, right? Am I remembering that right? That Florida State game. Fisher ended up getting hurt, but like you can say, hey, it might have been a different offensive line coach, but we're willing to start you as a true freshman. And it's rare, but he clearly has the size. I mean, he get to Notre Dame and be 6'7", 300 something pounds. Like he can play right away. There's a lot to offer here. Not only the academic component, we're offensive line you, but also you come here in 2024, Joe Alt, Blake Fisher, probably gone. Alt, I would assume this is Alt's last season at Notre Dame. Fisher very well could be the same proposition. Guerby Lambert could be seriously, he could be. I mean, Emil Wagner, Charles Jagasaw, you got some really good tackle pieces there too. But Lambert, I mean, he really could have that opportunity to be a day 1 starter, which is crazy to think about. But I mean, this is, one of the best offensive tackle prospects in the country.